Absolutely.
But when rubber meets the road in a Republican-controlled House, will there be any change on gun violence?
I don't know if there will or not, but I'll tell you, the president really put the pressure on Republicans last night. It was very difficult to have John Boehner sitting there behind him, not clapping at a certain time, not wearing the green ribbon that so many of the other folks were wearing. The NRA has a lot of power. There's no question about it, and they don't want to see a vote, I think, and that's what the president. That was interesting. I mean, if you're not familiar with the way the process works, you might wonder, why does he keep asking for the vote? Well, it's easier to have it die in committee, right? Because then it's just the committee members that get stuck with that. But the president wants to see votes on some of these issues so that members have to take a stand. And if they have to make the NRA mad, then that's what they have to do. If they have to say, I don't care what 85% of the American public says, then they should say that. But he wants to see a vote. And of course, Republicans don't want to see that at this point on most of these things.
Let's talk about the Republican side of this, because in the response last night, we heard Marco Rubio make some good points as well, that, you know, this is not the way to create safer streets by taking away the rights of law-abiding Americans. How are these two sides ever going to come together?
I don't know how they are, and it's troublesome because in some ways you might say that the president was really taking advantage of recent catastrophes, right, and sort of playing up and having the families there and so forth. On the other hand, this is a time where we can come together when we have, and nobody was in favor of this sort of violence, right, and so there's a time that we can come together. Maybe we ought to work on it. I don't know, to be honest with you, and the other problem is that the House and the Senate, not only are the Senate controlled by Democrats and the House by Republicans, but they operate under very different rules about how things come out of committee, when things come to the floor, and whether, you know, you have the filibuster always you have to consider in the Senate. So it's going to be very complicated.